Welcome back, pro wrestling fans. Welcome back, IWC, to part 2 of the live to tape watch along of WrestleMania 1. Go back and check out the first 12 minutes before I was so rudely interrupted by property management people, Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, my wife, everybody's mother, brother, uncle, sister's cousin's ass was interrupting the GOC here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel for Chaos Corner. We are in the third matchup of WrestleMania 1. That's right, the original that kicked off all of it leading into WrestleMania 4. Right now, in the ring, it's Maniac Matt Bourne against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. In the third matchup of roughly what I believe I said on part 1 is 11 matches. That's right, the original, a VHS, the old soundboard with knobs and turns and digital, not even digital dials. That's what you get here for the setup. Regular sound system, old school 2-camera angles, and that's it. But thank you guys. Much love and respect for being here. I'll say that to say this, because I tell it like it is. 25 feet below the surface of the earth. Welcome back. I'm going to try to do this in different parts and fast forward through it and see if we can get through without being so rudely interrupted again. All right, here we go. Maniac Matt Bourne, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Bourne with the blonde hair in this bout. Steamboat all in white, the white trunks, the white knee pads, the white boots. We saw in the opening matchup, Pt.2 Santana over the Executioner, a.k.a. Playboy Buddy Rose under the hood. And then, of course, the second matchup. I believe the record still holds for the fastest pin, the quickest victory in WrestleMania history, King Kong Bundy over Special Delivery Jones. Now, where I left off on that first part, which was only about 12 or 15 minutes in on part 1 here of the watch along, about King Kong Bundy being in the Hall of Fame. Now that McMahon is persona non grata and all the rest of his cronies and whatever's going to come out of the allegations, let's get Bundy into the Hall of Fame. Same thing with someone like the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff, who beat Bruno Sammartino, one of a few to win the title back in the 70s. I believe it was 1973, if I'm not mistaken. So come on, there's some people that belong in the WWE Hall of Fame compared to a lot of others that are in there, some worthy people. So let's keep that in mind as Paul Heyman goes in 2024. As I've been repeating myself here on Chaos Corner, I'm going to do as many live-to-tape watch-alongs of all the past WrestleManias leading into WrestleMania 40. The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, who the fuck knows, Drew McIntyre, Gunther. It's going to be, as I've been saying, an extravaganza, a bonanza. So sit back, relax, grab something to drink like I'm going to do right now. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Maniac Matt Bourne, the original from Madison Square Garden in the Felt Forum in New York City. 1985, March 31st, 1985. At that point, I'm 22 or 23 years old. Yeah, I talked about this on part 1. Let's review the rest of the matchups. And again, Steamboat taking over. Nice side headlock. The martial arts maneuvers of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And we just saw Steamboat this past weekend at AEW Revolution taking a double super kick from the Young Bucks. That's right, fans. On here, go back and check out my live-to-tape match-by-match segment of AEW Revolution from this past weekend. Sting's final match. The appearance of Nature Boy Ric Flair, and of course, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. It was one of the AEW Dynamite's best pay-per-views in their short 5-year history. Beautiful belly-to-belly suplex by Maniac Matt Bourne on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Bourne now taking over. Legitimate tough guy from Portland, Oregon. Setting up Steamboat for a superplex here. Beautiful snap suplex by Bourne. Here's the cover. But again, as I said in the other WrestleMania watch-alongs or in AEW Revolution or in the WWE right now for Raw or SmackDown, why isn't anybody hooking the legs? Back and forth. Knife-edge chops. Left forearm shivers by Bourne. The right martial arts judo chops by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to the forehead of Maniac Matt Bourne. Steamboat fires up like nobody else. Kind of like I do here on Chaos Corner. Leave a comment, subscribe, share this out, and drop a fucking elbow on that like button, will you please? And I apologize for cussing. Go to the community page, see what I have going on in real time. 2,700 videos, over 1,000 subscribers. Let's get this channel growing. I'm here for motivation, passion, a much needed distraction, my love, and I hope that comes across to you guys. And in 2024, with border invasions and wars and racial division and politics and everything else that's going on, the planet, the universe, Jesus Christ is coming back soon. Don't be caught dead without him. Shout out to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because if he's for us, nobody else can be against us. I want to throw that in there. I do it every episode, every podcast, every reality show, every episodic YouTube series here on the channel. Leapfrog, Up and Over by Steamboat. Beautiful double forearm. Well, actually, it was a double chop to the throat of Matt Bourne. Down goes Bourne. Steamboat up to the top rope. Here we go. He's going to fly. Beautiful flying body press halfway across the ring. 3 count. It's over. The Dragon Steamboat over Maniac Matt Bourne here at WrestleMania 1. The original. Before this, I told you the history. Go back and check it out from MTV and the WWF. War to settle a score, a brawl to settle it all, with all the entertainers and Rock and Wrestling Connection, which started it all here for WrestleMania 1. You see on the channel, I just did WrestleMania 2 and WrestleMania 3, the full shows, broken up into segments, part 1, 2, 3, and 4, so we don't have to do the full 180-minute live stream. I fast forward through, I try to do it in segments, just to keep everybody's attention. He literally, with that flying body press Steamboat, jumped halfway across the ring. A thing of beauty. You talk about Superfly, Jimmy Snuka, other legends that have done that flying body press. Nobody does it better than Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So a little Pellegrino and lemon instead of the traditional water. I'm already 2 cups of Java in here on a Wednesday, and I believe I will be reporting tonight live on the community page here on YouTube. For AEW Dynamite, the Fallout show from Revolution. Here's Lord Alfred Hayes back in the dressing rooms, the corridor, if you will, of Madison Square Garden. As I said, SmackDown and Raw right now selling out wherever they go. TV ratings going up to 2.5 million. The Rock's return. He doesn't give a fuck about Cody Rhodes' story. At least that's what he said. I'm quoting The Rock. Roman Reigns, Bloodline, head of the table, tribal chief, tag team match on night 1 for WrestleMania 40. Seth Rollins getting involved, Drew McIntyre, everybody mind your own business. It's going to be Cody Rhodes teaming up with Seth Rollins against The Rock and Roman Reigns, which will lead into night 2. Now here we go, backstage in the dressing room, 1985. The living legend Bruno Sammartino with his son David Sammartino being interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund. Talk about priceless, classic history right here on Chaos Corner with the GOC. Now Okerlund bringing in Brutus the Barber, Beefcake, and Luscious Johnny V. The Valiant Brothers were perhaps one of the most charismatic tag teams of the 70s into the 80s. Gentleman Jerry, Handsome Jimmy, Luscious Johnny, the former WWF Tag Team Champions. I believe they lost the titles to Putski and Santana, Hriba and Polish Power. The Valiant Brothers really were something back in the day. Remember seeing them at Madison Square Garden and New Haven Coliseum. Priceless. You have to remember my era growing up as a young boy, a child into a young boy and into a young man, teenager, was in the late 60s and through the 70s. We get into the 80s and I'm already 19, 20 years old. Let that sink in as I'm here at the big 6-0, still holding it down, keeping it real and maintaining, baby. That's what I do. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. As we look inside the building at Madison Square Garden, Brutus the Barber, Beefcake in all red with the nice black tie, looking as good as ever back then. Beefcake was never a great worker, but he had the look, along with Luscious Johnny V. They're all in red. And here comes Bruno jogging down to the ring, followed by his son, David Sammartino. Now, David really never did much in his career. He had a lot to live up to, David Sammartino. He got a fair shot, but he certainly, and he was a qualified grappler, but he didn't make the impact that you thought he would have. A short fire plug type guy, David Sammartino. Just built just like the old man, but it was a different time, different day. And by the time David had come up here, WrestleMania 1, the men were and the grapplers were just monsters. 252 pounds, David Sammartino, nah. I'd say about 220 here. Bruno's still looking good at 85. And remember, in 1999 at the NAWA Slam Jam, the posters right here. Bruno on there, Primo Carnera, Psycho Sid Vicious, the Bushwhackers. And yours truly on that night took over commissioner at the Westchester County Civic Center for Bruno Sammartino and was commissioner for 20 years. They went from Bruno Sammartino to yours truly, the GOC, to Tony Atlas, Mr. USA. Those were the last three commissioners for the NAWA, one of the biggest independents in the country at that time, the 90s into the early 2000s, even the late 80s when the NAWA was formed and had a partnership with the UWF. It's a heavy chain. You guys got to give me some credit here. Look at that. Sold out probably 22,000 at the Garden for WrestleMania 1, another 4,000 or 5,000 at the Felt Forum. And I said on part one here that not only was I at the university in 1985, I believe I was in my fourth year, maybe the best 6 years of my life, my fifth year. I had to watch it on closed circuit TV, kind of like when they started at Starrcade in 83 and 84 for the NWA. I remember, I'll never forget this. It seems like yesterday. What an era, what a time. The explosion, yeah, we went from the territories to WrestleMania and the explosion of Hulk Hogan, and then it led to the cartoon era for both groups. Jim Crockett, NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions, sold to Ted Turner, WCW. The WWF went into cartoon mode, and it certainly was rough in the late 80s into the early 90s with both the big organizations as the territories went by the wayside from the AWA, which did survive a lot longer, world-class championship wrestling, Georgia, Florida, Mid-Atlantic, Deep South, UWF, Canada, all over the country, the Pacific Northwest. It really was great, the territories. But this is what changed it all. It really did. It was an explosion. It was a phenomenon. The early 80s, from 80, we'll say 81 to 89 was truly an explosion. That decade of pro wrestling and the advent of cable TV and so on and so forth, it really was something. And then we went into the cartoon era of the early 90s with both groups. And then, of course, ECW on the scene in the mid-90s. And then the Monday Night Wars in the mid-90s from Raw and Nitro leading into the Attitude and Aggressive era and so on and so forth. But then we got into the late 90s, into the early 2000s, and the business changed again to a lot of bullshit and garbage and other companies coming back. And then there's just two companies with the WWF, WCW. Then it was just one company when they were bought out in 2001. Then we had the advent and the invention. ECW had folded, AWA was gone, so on and so forth. Then you had Ring of Honor come on board, and then TNA come on board, and then the independents came back strong. So you see the evolution of the business, and now there's AEW competing with the WWE over the last 5 years, and just the difference of the evolution of the business. And in my 60 years, what I've witnessed, you have to remember that my first memories and visions of pro wrestling is probably 1970, 1971. Let that marinate. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Let that sink in. That's what you get here on this fucking channel. I apologize for the cussing. Right now, Sammartino riding a beefcake like he's a bull in the Pro Bull Riders Association. You could see Bruno ringside scouting, being an agent, being a talent scout like I do currently. What I've been doing my whole career. Again, the chains around the neck. It's leaving a mark. Let me get it back here. You guys know my career. 25 years behind the walls. This is my life. Beefcake back into the ring. Wearing the purple and black trunks with the black boots. He had the all red cummerbund and vest with the black bow tie, and Johnny Valiant in all red. David Sammartino in the red trunks, red boots. Again, technically sound David Sammartino, really moving around as a mat tactician right now here on WrestleMania 1. Now, what do we have coming up here? We've already seen a few of the matches. We saw Santana over the Executioner. We saw Bundy in record time over S.D. Jones. We saw Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in all his splendor, although Maniac Matt Bourne, quite the competitor. We have David right now, the son of the living legend, and Brutus the Barber Beefcake with Luscious Johnny V. It's nice to see Bruno at ringside. We have Greg the Hammer Valentine defending the Intercontinental Championship against the JYD coming up. Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda, the tag team champions, will take on the Sheik and Nikolai Volkov with the Hollywood fashion plate, Classy Freddie Blassie. We're also going to have the $15,000 body slam match between Andre the Giant, the eighth wonder of the world, and Big John Studd. The women's championship, Wendy Richter, Leilani Kai with the fabulous Moolah will be ringside. And then, of course, Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff with the Ace Cowboy Bob Orton in their corner against Hogan and Mr. T with the Superfly in their corner. Liberace is here. Billy Martin is here. Muhammad Ali is here. And the GOC is here. In the booth with Jesse the Body Ventura, Mean Gene Okerlund and Lord Alfred Hayes backstage, along with the Gorilla Monsoon. Beautiful side headlock takeover by David Samar. Oh, by Beefcake. Let me correct myself here, by Beefcake. And I know you guys cannot hear the sound here, so that's a beautiful thing. The old soundboard, if you guys were to look at this, it's the old soundboard with the turns and knobs and levels and the bouncing back and forth with the meter, along with the updated bitch over here. I don't want to say her name. That's the only thing that's current, because then we'll be interrupted. You know I don't like her, right? I got heat with her, right? You guys know that, right? I know that you do. Far side. Big shoulder block by Beefcake. Down goes Sammartino. Drop down. Step over. Beautiful reverse hip toss by Beefcake. Nice kick out by Sammartino. Beautiful drop leg toe hold there by David Sammartino. Nice reversal into a leg lock on Beefcake, who's face down in the mat. In big trouble at this point. This match has been back and forth between both grapplers. Sammartino proving himself to be a valid competitor, but we know Beefcake went on to big stardom. And again, a guy that really was never a great worker. Had some charisma, had the right connections, but really, was he a mat tactician? He wasn't. Was he a good worker? Not really. A big guy, though, in great shape. Take nothing away from Ed Leslie, a.k.a. Beefcake. A lot of people used to say back in the day, in the 80s, that I used to look like the Barber. But then people said I looked like Billy Jack Haynes, too, back in the day. So who the fuck knows? And then people say now it's Scott Steiner that I look a little bit like. But I don't know, man. I look like me, the GOC. Let me get a little more Pellegrino. Been doing a lot of broadcasting here lately, a lot of coverage, a lot of reporting. Go back and check out the Wrestling Hour that I uploaded all day yesterday. Old school from 1990, 91, 92. With it used to be on WFAN at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, the Wrestling Hour with Jody McDonald and Rich Mancuso. Unbelievable for the time and for the day. We just had on there the shows that I uploaded. Meltzer from the early 90s with Jody and Rich. Who else was on there? From the Pro Wrestling Torch was also on there. The Matt Connection, all stuff, the hotlines they were talking about. Everything from 30 and 40 years ago, long before a lot of you viewers and current fans even knew what was going on. Go back and respect the history of where the business came from. That's why in a car there's a rear view mirror. I know it's smaller, it's supposed to be that way, but you look back and you respect it and you honor it. Because you can't get to where you're going without recognizing where you have come from or where you've been or even where you are. Big back body drop by Beefcake on David Sammartino. Drops down the hammer across the chest, across the throat, across the larynx. Beefcake taking over now. Another dropping of the fist and the forearm shiver across the prone David Sammartino. And I get back onto the reference. And then you look at that windshield, and that's why it's bigger for the future. And you step on the gas pedal, full speed ahead. Big body slam by Beefcake as they're showing Bruno in the corner. Sammartino's in big trouble. David Sammartino with a boot to the jib from Beefcake. Beefcake just pounding in right now with those huge forearm smashes, forearm blows by the Beefcake. The Barber's much bigger than David Sammartino. So again, respect and those who paved the way. In order to get respect, you have to start with respecting yourself. And once you do that, you open other people's minds to respecting you. And I say it all the time. And that applies to every aspect of life. Stay fit, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Tomorrow is not guaranteed for any of us. Like-minded people, keep them close. Far side, Irish whip by Beefcake on Sammartino. David Sammartino's in big trouble right now. Look at the crowd. Jammed to the rafters for WrestleMania 1. Really is something. Again, I'm kicking back. You guys saw that when I did the Revolution live in real time and live to tape at the same time. How about that? Riddle me that. We were up in the lounge. What an atmosphere the lounge is. Dimly lit, cocktails, some nice snacks, although I wasn't partaking in the adult beverage. You got to stay sober in this day and age in 2024 with what's going on in this world and use your discernment. I know I'm bouncing back and forth here, but that's the message I put out on this channel. Nice reverse Irish rip. Sammartino, Beefcake in the corner. Big back body drop by David on the Barber. Sammartino coming back now. He's in big trouble. He needs to bounce back as we look over the shoulders of the late, great, living legend Bruno Sammartino. Beefcake and Sammartino trading blows to the Lebans, to the breadbasket, to the head. Oh, and those trademark right hands by David, just like the old man used to throw in there. Short right hands, a left, a right by David Sammartino, taking over on Beefcake. Far side, off the ropes. Big boot to the midsection by David. Knee lift by David Sammartino. Beefcake is on Queer Street. He's reeling. He's on his heels. Sammartino setting up for a beautiful suplex. Let's see if he can get the big man up. Sammartino gets up. Beefcake. Beautiful suplex. Here's the cover. Hook the leg, Sammartino. Hook the leg. Only a 2 count. Again, WrestleMania 1, live to tape watch along. We're going to do this all the way up to WrestleMania 40. So stay tuned here on Chaos Corner. Sammartino tossed out of the ring like yesterday's garbage. And there's Luscious Johnny V. What are you doing, Johnny V? Picking up David Sammartino. Slams him on the hardwood floor. And there's no padding out there. And Bruno out of nowhere. And Bruno tosses Luscious Johnny V into the ring. Sammartino's in the ring. Bruno taking it to Luscious Johnny V. Hammering him. And now Beefcake up from behind. Sammartino shaking off those blows. And now it's Bruno and Luscious Johnny V. David's back in the ring against Beefcake. Far side goes Luscious Johnny V. A big boot to the midsection by Bruno. The big trademark right hand by Bruno. Over the top rope goes Luscious Johnny V. Bruno Sammartino's kicking the shit out of Luscious Johnny V. Beefcake takes a powder. Both Sammartinos are in the ring. Bruno and David. Wow. Listen to the crowd. Well, no copyrights. We don't want any copyrights. We don't want to screw with the algorithm. Geez, you would think this is the first time I saw this. Bruno calling back in, and here is the decision with Howard Finkel. The Fink. It's got to be a disqualification. Wow. Wow. A double disqualification from the interference on Luscious Johnny V on the part of Beefcake, and of course, the living legend Bruno Sammartino on part of David Sammartino. Double disqualification here at WrestleMania 1, Madison Square Garden, when New York City was New York City. I told you the stories when I used to hang out at Central Park South or Central Park West, wherever the fuck it was back then in my early 20s, going down to Mickey Mantle's on Central Park. Wow, it was unbelievable. And actually getting to meet the Mick in the early 80s at his restaurant when Bill Mazer used to do the live broadcast right there in the front window of the restaurant. Really unbelievable times. Hanging out at the city center on West 54th Street, I believe it was. It was really unbelievable down in the city in the 80s. Madison Square Garden, and all the different restaurants, and going down to Chinatown, and just really was a different time and a different world back then. We're here for Wrestlemania, the original Madison Square Garden, and as it says here on the table, live, and we're live to tape here as well. So I hope you guys are enjoying my extra chicanery today. I mean, kayfabe, man. It's a joke, man. It's a word, man. I had 2 cups of Java, so I'm on a roll, and I'm excited and amped up for what's going on in the current business. 2024, it's bringing back a little bit of invigorating energy for the GOC, coming off of Revolution. Although the ratings are in the tank and the live events have been terrible for Dynamite, they do pull off some good pay-per-views. I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. TK pulls off some unbelievable events when it comes to the AEW pay-per-views. I will say that. And WWE is regaining its momentum now with once all the bullshit with Vince McMahon and Laurinaitis and everything else that's going on and the horrific, tragic things that have alleged to have happened, and they're going to be proven. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. But now with all this coming back, The Rock, Board of Directors, the Samoan Dynasty, Cody Rhodes finishing his story, Cody Crybabies, crackheads, meth heads, whatever the fuck Rock was talking about. There's a lot going on with the bloodline, and hold on, don't go anywhere. As we see the Lord Alfred Hayes, and we're getting ready now. What matchup is next? Let me check my notes. Let me see what we got going here. Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, as I say about managers all the time when I talk about J.J. Dillon, Jim Cornette, Captain Lou, Freddie Blassie, Gary Hart, Paul Ellering, Bill Alfonso, even Joel Gertner. I talk about the legendary managers, yours truly, coming out 2 and 3 times a night, night after night, having a stable, having a goon squad like I used to have. It's a lot to be said for managers, especially the ones that took the fucking bumps. Jimmy Hart, Greg the Hammer Valentine defending the Intercontinental Championship against the JYD with that thump game. That's what we have coming up. The Hammer, JYD. Every dog needs the bone to chew on. I know, scared of rats off cheesecake. I get it. Make onions cry. Let's go back up to ringside. Gorilla Monsoon, Jesse the Body Ventura for the Intercontinental Championship. Let's see what we got here, guys. Don't go anywhere. We have the introductions. JYD and the Hammer. The beautiful black and white and silver robe by Valentine. And then Jimmy Hart in the suit with the music insignias all over his suit. And the JYD, this is apropos, not only for my career, not only for Power and Glory, Hercules Hernandez and Paul Roma, but also for the JYD coming out right now with the chains. Should I take them off and swing them around? And maybe I should. The Hammer Valentine, here we go. Do-si-do. Let me get the board op going here, gentlemen, ladies, gals. And here comes the JYD with the thump game on the back of his shorts. There's the bell for the title. Let's get it done. That's what we have here, fans. This is, I believe, the 4th or 5th matchup here as the board. The old ops. You guys know I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, right? CSB in the late 80s. Yeah, I have that background. Here we go. Valentine. JYD. Getting ready to lock him up. No, looks like they're going to go to little fisticuffs first. Valentine backing up. Little shucking and jiving by the JYD. Circling each other. Sizing each other up. Wrestlemania. The original. The one that started it all. Here we go. Valentine trying to keep JYD at a distance. Here it is. Collar and elbow. Into a nice wrist like an arm wringer by the JYD. This is for the Intercontinental Championship. We're about a half an hour in on this second segment for WrestleMania 1. I told you part 1, Was only about 12 or 15 minutes. The wife came down here. Roma and Mancini came down here. The property management company was here doing estimates and denying things. If I have to go to war to settle the score here myself. So that's why the first part will only be about 12 or 15 minutes. We're part 2 at WrestleMania. Oh, JYD with a big right to the jib on Valentine. Valentine's down and JYD. I'm Rick James, bitch. In good shape, the JYD. How about JYD back in the days of the Mid-South, Deep South territories? Selling out the New Orleans Superdome with Hacksaw Butch Reed, the natural Butch Reed, if you will. 30,000 fans. Think about that for back in the day. Valentine, JYD, locking up once again. So as we're 30 minutes in here on the Intercontinental Championship, Valentine taking over. Oh, goes for the trademark forearm smash on the ground. No! JYD with the headbutt. Both men on the ground. Headbutt, roll over. Headbutt, roll over. Headbutt, roll over. And Valentine is outside of the ring now. That's a beautiful thing. Every dog needs a bone to chew on. I know, I'm acting like the cartoon characters they all turned into. That's what you get here on the channel. So we already covered, as I said, Valentine rolls back into the ring. We had Santana win. We had Bundy win. We had Steamboat win. A San Martino and Beefcake double count out. It's the Hammer and JYD right now. So probably after this Intercontinental Championship match, I will go to a part 3, which will cover the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team title match between Wyndham and Rotunda against the Sheik and Volkov. And then the $15,000 body slam challenge between Giant and Stud, leading into the women's title match, Wendy Richter. And then, of course, the historic main event of Hogan and Mr. T. That's right, against Piper and Orndorff. Is there anybody better than Piper? Big clubbing forearm by Valentine on JYD. Down goes JYD. Valentine setting up for the figure 4. No, an elbow drop across the groin and the lower abdomen. Holy cramoly. So that's what we're going to do, fans. The part 1, briefly, as I said, stretching out the hamstrings with a beautiful Valentine tossing over, ripping back that leg and the hamstrings on JYD, and now picking out the leg part, knees to the back of that right leg. That's what Valentine does. Breaks it down, picks out a body part, and continues to pound and hammer away, pun intended. You guys know I like the ball peen hammer, right? Bink! 1 lump or 2. Bink! The old ball peen hammer. You know what I mean? What I say, man. Bear with me here. Valentine really working over that right leg on the JYD. The JYD is in big trouble right now. So as I said, we'll have part 2 stop after this title bout, and then we'll come on back for part 3 of WrestleMania 1. The original. It wasn't even called WrestleMania 1 at this point. It was just WrestleMania. It was 1985. The New York Mets were the toast of the town. Better than the Yankees by a long shot. The Steinbrenner Yankees at that point. Well, and long after that, too. And then in 86, when the Mets won the World Series, the very next year, 85, Doc Good and Darryl Strawberry. Do I need to go on? 86, Keith Hernandez, Gary Carter, El Cid. Do I have to keep going on and on about the 86 Mets? The Kings of Queens, the bad guys won. No, let me get back to pro wrestling. Forearm shivers by Valentine. A right to the breadbasket, the Labanza, a left, and then JYD firing up with the rights to the jib, to the chin, to the proboscis. Down goes Valentine. Down goes Valentine. JYD right now holding up. Bang! The big headbutt. He's still got Valentine by the hair. It looks like he's going to knock him out again. Look at this. I got to put these back on in honor of the JD. The old side headbutt. Valentine with the face first bump, or as I used to call, for all those that are in my age group, Fred Flintstone, the old Flintstone flop, or Bugs Bunny when Frank Brody took a Brody off the Brooklyn Bridge. A Brody? Am I showing my age here? Jimmy Hart distracting the referee. Valentine in the middle of the ring. JYD goes over and he's got Jimmy Hart by the collar. Valentine off the far side. Here he comes. Big forearm. He misses JYD. Down goes the mouth of the South. Landed on that hardwood floor. No padding. JYD taking over right now. laying into right hands, laying into forearm shivers. Valentine's in big trouble. Headbutt, right, left, big right. And an eye rake by Valentine, one of my favorite maneuvers. Down goes Valentine, down goes JYD. Foot on the ropes. Valentine pins him and retains the title. Valentine pins the JYD. Both feet were on the ropes for Valentine. Listen, like Jesse Ventura says, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. Greg the Hammer Valentine pins JYD, and the ref, with the brain of a dehydrated baby, didn't see that both legs were on the rope. Now, Santana's in there trying to defend a JYD, trying to tell the referee that he missed it. It's too late. Valentine has the gold over his shoulder. Valentine, Jimmy Hart exits stage left at Madison Square Garden. Wait, what is the referee doing? He's been alerted by Santana. The referee looks like he's changing his mind. He's counting Valentine out. 4, 5, 6. Valentine better get back in the ring. This match continues. What the fuck is going on? That's it. And he's counted out. And JYD ends up winning the match. He won the match because of Arriba Tito Santana. Valentine has been counted out at WrestleMania. But guess what? Does it really fucking matter? If I'm Valentine, okay, I lost. I may have got the smaller of the purse because I lost, but it's a disqualification. He still retains the belt. Let that sink in. So does it really matter? Valentine remains the champion, the WWF Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania. And Santana's trying to coax Valentine to get back in the ring. Santana, you got nothing to do with this. You're in civilian clothes. You're in street clothes. You already won your fucking match. What are you doing here, man? Mind your own business, Arriba. Don't call me Chico. I have your book right over here. Valentine is disgusted right now. He's still outside. Doesn't matter, Hammer. You're still the WWF Intercontinental Champion. JYD, by count out. I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. Live to tape, WrestleMania, the original watch-along here on Chaos Corner. Come on back. We're going into part 3. Don't you dare miss it. Oh, come on, don't go anywhere. Come on, fucking back. Come on.